It's taken over you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. That's a guy here. Hopefully the clean feed comes back. It was working just a second ago. There we go. Application error, so definitely. So I actually have the URL on a different screen. We're just gonna watch it from the clean feed, but I won't spoil it until you guys can see it. The unfortunate thing here is that it's just not a smooth experience watching it on the URL. So I do have access to it. Just application error again. This is like I crashed twice already within 10 seconds trying to watch it on the URL. Very surprised. I mean, it just crashes a lot, so it's just not a very good experience. So we're just gonna wait and watch it from the clean feed. And I hope you guys enjoy the commentary that I'll be doing today. But other than that, my real intro. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Atsukai here. I'm going to be bringing to you the third day of the Asia Division knockout stage. This is the first time the knockout stage has included a pick ban for units. For maps, that's been around for a while, but this is the first time we've had them for units. So tonight we've got YYY versus AOE. Then following that, we have a rematch actually from the Asia Division. BOD versus SSR did end up in a 2-1 decision. I mean, in a 2-1 battle back in the qualifying phase or the scoring phase. Sorry. So it will be very interesting if there is a upset for BOD versus SSR. They do seem to be around a similar skill level. I don't think either one has an extraordinary edge against the other. But considering that BOD did win out the last time, we can expect kind of a repeat from last time. Nevertheless, we're going to be waiting here, watching and waiting for the pick ban to start. This is 3 minutes behind, so in about 30 more seconds, we'll get to see the pick ban for YYY versus AOE. So I'm going to close up my webcam so you guys can spot the pick bans for YYY versus AOE. Really? They changed up their players this time? Let's hope the change in roster helps. I'm pretty sure that you meant roster there, Ruffles, right? Because what you actually typed was SSR has a different roasted? Yeah, like roasted? I don't know. Roasted this time? I don't know what a roasted is. Alright, looks like here comes the toss. 1 for YYY, 3 for AOE. I do think that means that the ban goes towards AOE. Lower number wins? Well, YYY bans Kurak Gussel. AOE. What are you going to ban out? Bans out Hidden City. Very interesting ban here. Hidden City has been quite popular in this knockout phase so far. I think out of the maps, it is six out of 8 times we have seen Harbor City. Oh, never mind. It was Hidden City. What am I smoking? They banned out Hidden City, so YYY chooses Harbor City. Harbor City is very common. Highland Fjord's very common. Sorry there. I mean, like, for some reason, my brain's just like, AoE banned Harbor City, but I said Hidden City, so I said everything correct, but I was just, in my mind, it was just like Harbor City, but I was saying Hidden City, and it's just like, my goodness. Anyway, so Harbor City for YYY's attack, and Highland Fjord for AoE's attack. Interesting. A ban on the Metallators and the Shenji Grenadiers. Very interesting pick. Taking out some powerful range options. This might limit YY's ability to gain dominance That's also the same for the defenders. Defending in terms for defenders, I mean, Zixiki, Zyk Zycalian militia and chevaliers are banned. A chevalier ban is very odd, to say the least, mainly because chevaliers, although they do have quite a good uh, performance, they're not spectacular. They haven't really been able to turn the tide. So they save the Daggerac Lancers with their safe pick. I'm not surprised that they would try to save at least one alternate cavalry. No one really bans winged hussars. Even if you do ban winged hussars, getting rid of them is not using them is not really detrimental. They're still a very powerful option though to take out to charge into pike formations that don't have fortibraccios. No, so ban on the Metallitori. I don't understand. Okay, so wait, no, I understand that. So, what I didn't understand, sorry, was that the Metallitor ban from AoE kind of backfires on them for Harbor City. The Metallitori ban here, interesting, is because it harms YYY on Harbor City. AoE doesn't pick a save. That is interesting. They don't choose to save any units, and a Halberdier ban coming out from YYY. Halberdier ban, wow, that's going to be pretty massive. In the Tier 3 game, I think almost a 90% pick rate for Halberdiers if the teams had an option or set up for a Tier 3. So that's very interesting that the Halberdier gets banned. But that is all for the pickman. That's all for the pickman phase between YYY versus AoE. What's considerably concerning is the whoopsie daisy. You don't need to see that one. What's considerably concerning is the ban on the two powerful ranged units, and then we also have the Ezekiel militia also getting banned out. That is quite a predicament for defenders. Without powerful range options, I do think on when you're defending, it's going to be a bit difficult in order to hold an advantage without winning outright in a big skirmish. Normally, ranged units are great at kind of doing the dealing the damage from it's dealing the damage at range, constant damage at range, really puts the pressure on the, how to say, attackers as they push through, as defenders kind of hold their position. Range units become ever so more valuable for defenders to kind of get value back when they're in a bad situation. And not to mention, they got a lot of spots where they can use them. So, nevertheless, I think it was not a bad move, but quite a strange move. That not only did they kind of take out two of their range options for Harbour City, Highland Fjord, attacking on Highland Fjord, range units are not particularly powerful on Highland Fjord as it ends up mostly ending up in a Zerg from either side. Counterattacks for the defender on Highland Fjord is actually quite common. They normally sally out forward towards the enemy, while Harbour City, you can see a lot of sitting back, relaxing, waiting for the enemy to come kill you. Nevertheless, I think it's going to be very interesting how this plays out as we get to the first battle of Highland Fjord with AoE attacking first. Sorry, with AoE attacking first on Highland Fjord. Still waiting in for the rest of the members to appear, but it is still about 3 minutes before the official start of the first battle. Yep, pick band phase has already gone through. So at the bottom of this screen, you can obviously see the Metallitor band, Shenji Grenadier band, ZT, Zyk Zycalian Militia, Chevaliers, Metallitori, Halberdiers, all of those banned. There was a safe pick of Dagerac Lancers coming out from YYY. Unfortunately, no safe pick from AoE. I mean, at this point, safe pick is quite interesting, but at this point, I think we're a little bit early to say if teams really require a safe pick. Though, haven't really seen a really game stopper safe pick that was just like a core unit from a team. There is the Madao safe pick from yesterday night. That was quite interesting. Lots of Madaos. In my personal opinion, Madaos are not particularly strong. They do die very easily. The amount of damage they deal is quite low, around about 1400. Do remember, in formation, halberdiers do quite a bit, somewhere around the 2300 mark. That is that is pretty much almost 40, no, maybe about 50% higher than Madao's. So that is like single hits though. Madao's also have the ability to hit up to 3 units with their Madao order. I'm not sure how many they can hit with their Carnage, but their Carnage is definitely a very powerful ability. So it does look like the referee is double checking. They're going for the ready, I think, and we should get the first game underway. Nevertheless, I do think in this game there's a lot of nuance and definitely a lot of things to understand about the units that is just not common knowledge. But the most interesting thing about these pick bans for this today is the Halberdier ban. How will that affect the lineup coming out from the teams? The Halberdier, pretty sure, as a tier 3, has been 90 odd percent pick rate. I don't quote me on that because I'm probably wrong, but very high pick rate for when the teams choose a tier 3. If they choose a tier 3, most of the time, it will be the Halberdier. Alrighty, so we're underway. A little bit of a bug here. Can't really see the map, though doesn't really matter. First off, we're gonna look for some important units. Does look like Alp Halberdiers are coming up. Some Outriders for the low tier. There are still 1 Siphon Alloys. There are 5 Shield Maidens coming out from AoE. So looking at the heavy shield lineup, lots of heavy shields actually. There is so many stalwarts as well. One of the guys just switching out right now. The Winged Hussars coming out from YYY. Absolutely going to be amazing. But look how many Fortebraccios AoE is bringing out. This is going to end up in disaster if YYY cannot spot these Fortebraccios. These Fortebraccios will be the linchpin for AoE against YYY because it's going to be super efficient. Lots of Medaus, though. I do think the Medal picks from either side is quite interesting. Without the lower class halberdiers, the choice for the tier 4 halberdier sergeants doesn't seem to have picked up to replace the halberdier loss. Nevertheless, we have begun the attack here on Highland Fjord. Wish you luck, AoE. Wish you luck, YYY. Alrighty, beginning off with a split. Around about 6 guys towards the... Whoa, 7! Well, hiding behind the thing. Does look like a contingent of 5 going for the broken wall there on the B side. And we have the pushing towards front gate. Only 2 people. Going to be a slow approach. No rush. No rush. Sitting back nice and safe. We got 2 shield maidens kind of running around at the B section. And the kind of even spread there of the formation coming out from the defenders sitting in those pockets next to the bridge. As much as I like to say that the Treb is very powerful, as you can see, in terms of damage to walls and stuff, the Treb is actually very, very low. The Treb damage is very low against structures, which is quite interesting. The Outriders throwing their explosive javelins. You can actually destroy the walls with roughly around about 10 or 20 javelin throws. It takes a while, but it is possible. They're destroying it with some mortars, so speeding that up just a bit. The lack of Falconettis, in this case, makes it very difficult to kind of not use artillery. You waste a lot of time if you try to destroy it with ranged units such as javelin, such as outriders. Going through the broken wall here on the A side, we got a triple setup of shield maidens along with 1 Medal. 1 Medal holding their position with shield maidens kind of blocking the flanks and the front should definitely be a good formation. Heavy on the A push right now, coming from the defenders, going in ham, trying to go to push out, going to just collapse on the attackers right now. Really good defensive formation, choking them out. This trap's going to be fairly ineffective. Oh, wow. 2 shots, 3 shots go in. And right now we're kicking it off against shield. The Medals do not seem to be holding very well as they slowly get pushed back. Cavalry also pulls forward. I think this was a bad move coming out from AoE. I would have went straight to C. And set up on C. Most of you are infantry, so you would have gotten on C, blocked it off, gotten C immediately. But here at the extended fight, here at A right now, AoE is taking a move to lock off their retreat. Probably a war of attrition. Successfully working out, mainly because the forces were split by a random wing to start charge coming out from AoE. But AoE is completely surrounded in this case. We got shield maidens coming in the back. 2 sets of shield maidens coming in the back. We have so many. Oh my goodness. So many of the Medals actually died. As you can see, so many Medals have died there on the front section. But the loyal guards here push in for YYY, completely getting gutted as the shield maidens collapse the left-hand side and just sweep them out. We have a Daggerack Lancer just rushing through as the loyal guards try to turn around and face the correct direction, but they just got blasted right through. Did catch the Daggerack Lancers in the end, but the battle rages on. YYY really needs to reestablish themselves, otherwise they'll lose more units than they need to, and AoE has done a very excellent job to keep the pressure on YYY. I do think the exchanges on the second half was really good, in fact, killing off quite a bit of YYY. The only problem I see is that tactically it didn't advance the map. So fighting there on the A and the B section really harmed AoE's pressure of YYY. It was kind of good that they kept them there, but it was not a clear victory, only a half victory. And Pure Pike Walk kind of ineffective as the Shield Maidens just will block it and just slaughter them. We got some Pike Militia there at the front, staring off during contest with a Halberdier trying to go straight on through. Halberdier versus Halberdier, that's going to be very interesting. I think a Loyal Guard there on the harbor side just getting completely destroyed as YYY is piranhaing or zerging towards any any members literally caught on the outside of the formation. Going straight for the steep point. Very good idea. You want to split YYY's attention by fighting on multiple fronts. AoE's problem right now is they're running straight into bad exchanges. A Treb onto this wall could be amazing. Double Shield Maiden versus Double Shield Maiden. More heroes out for YYY could be extraordinarily dangerous, though, as the heroes kind of slaughters their way through. I do not like watching Shield Maidens fight each other like this. It's full-on stacks of Cover Commander. Very brutal. It would have been better set up for one to have the one sword and one spear and have them keep exchanging. But nevertheless, YYY being super aggressive, fighting two fronts right now, and does look like they win there on the left-hand side, winning here slowly here on the right-hand side. Or I may have spoken too soon. This is a massive choke. YYY is forcing their way through into Flamers, into Fortebrasher. Fortebrasher is not in formation, by the way, and it's a downhill. Right now, Loyal Guards is a bit far away, but nevertheless, the tidal wave just coming through. We also have Halberdiers there on the backhand side. I don't even know where they came from. Lots of respawns coming out from AoE right now. YYY might actually have the victory here. The Shield Maidens finally break through the Loyal Guards and are chopping their way through all of the Surf units. AoE is on the run. I don't believe that AoE is going to have very much in the bank right now to fight off this setup. Whoop, we have been shot into the sky just now. Both of these are China mainland ones, aren't they? So YYY. So both YYY and AoE should be from China mainland. I'm not entirely sure. Rankings. Oh, wait, hang on. YYY is ours. Never mind. Okay, YYY is one of us. Well, from the Asia division, sorry. No, AoE came third in their Group A division, only scoring a 78% game win rate. At this point, there is just a lot of Chinese teams on the Asia division and a lot of Chinese teams on the China mainland division. It's just, there's a lot of Chinese teams, to say the least. I'm not really great at tracking which team's which. So, I mean, I don't even know what the acronym even stands for. YYY? What does that stand for? AoE stands for what? I mean, like, is it Age of Empires? That'd be hilarious. I think Microsoft might file copyright strike there. But, timing? What timing? But with the end of that, YYY wins their defense against AoE's attack on Highland Fjord. I wouldn't say it was a bad start. It was actually a pretty strong maneuver coming out from AoE. Uh, that's what you meant. YYY definitely took a very aggressive approach. I think YYY's decision to sacrifice the B side really. I really think that AoE's mistake here is not putting more pressure on YYY by advancing the stage to C. Instead, they decided to capture the units there at the A point. But the only problem is here is that the respawn was a little bit slow or wasn't very strong. Well, at this point, I mean, I can't recognize Chinese kanji and Hong Kongers kanji as being separate. You guys speak Chinese. So, if you start making your own language and I can see that in your alphabet, maybe? I don't know. At this point, all English names to me are just English. I'm not even sure if they're Australian, from the EU, maybe from actual England. Or if they're from America or Singapore. Like, don't forget that. Um, oh my god, man! Had a Singaporean exchange student when, oh, why don't you speak Singaporean? And it's like English is the Singaporean national language. I'm just like mind blown, mind blown. Well, from my understanding, most of the Chinese players probably come from Taiwan if they play on the Asia if they play on the Asia server instead of the China mainland one. I do know that there is a subsection of Chinese players that are from China mainland that doesn't play on the Chinese server, which is called Vanguard. Don't know why. Maybe they think it's better here on the Frontier version. I do know that the old I do know that ever since the Vanguard server came up, a lot of the China mainland people that were playing on the Frontier version have switched back to the NetEase version since they originally had War of Intent. Well, I mean, I think it still probably badly translates to War of Intent, even now, about the relaunch of the server and stuff. But that's just secondhand information and stuff. So not really completely sure. We don't actually we cross server matchmake with Vanguard players all the time, but like we have no idea. We have no idea of how to accessing that without being going to the NetEase thing, which makes it interesting because it's just like I love it how the cross server things work. So we're going to get YYY attacking on Harbor City. I do think it's going to be a bit difficult for AoE to defend without Metallators. If they want to defend the wall, that is. Without some powerful range options, AoE might find it a bit difficult to gain an advantage straight up against AoE. AoE could just end up running. I'm sorry. YYY could just end up running the defenders right through, since they do seem to have a better understanding of grouping and force application. CNC got to win anyway. Yeah, I know, right? CNC too strong. Need nerf. I mean, at this point, CNC should just play with 14 players and see if they can still win. Like, like handicap themselves. Just play with 14 players. Why would they do tournament and waste people's time? Waste? $20,000 is on the table. What do you mean waste? I mean, it's split between the 20 people in the tournament, but it's just like, it's no longer a waste of time now. I do think it's a little bit of vanity. I love vanity, though. That's the only reason why anyone actually does anything, is because they can brag about that they did something. It's not a waste of time anymore. I mean, like last time it was like 10k, oh maybe 15k total. So it's like so it was still like 7.5k for like rank one, and then like rank two gets like five. That was a joke about CNC winning, but I pressed enter too early to have full phrase. Well, you need to have some kind of show. Like I understand the like as a joke. We know that CNC is gonna win. It's gonna be a huge upset if CNC doesn't win, but let's also be honest here. If you don't expect CNC to win, you've not watched CBL ever then. I mean, like you don't actually have to watch CBL. Every person will just tell you who's the best team in the Asia division, CNC. And realistically, that is true. That has been true and has not really been challenged. No one's actually challenged CNC to the point where they've actually lost. People like to say Pond Garden beat CNC during the what was it? The Northmen seasons cross server tournament, but that was actually a show tournament. They played only on Highland Fjord. Highland Fjord has only been released for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, both of the teams, every single one that was playing on those, like in those matches, only had access to Highland Fjord for the 2 weeks it was released. And worse yet, here on the Asia Division side, we had tier lock at the time. We always had tier locks in season one, but the My.com version where Pond Garden is from, Pond Garden, Pond Guard, Pond Guard, Pond Guard. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, we've made the joke that CNC is actually a computer because it's their name actually apparently stands for like computer numerical something. I forget the last word. It's like computer numerical something. Um, and so I kind of joked. I mean, like, I'm not sure if anyone else makes the same jokes, but I joke that CNC is actually just one person or just one computer, just playing 15 different accounts. Yeah, it was Pond Guard. There we go. Yeah, I mean, true, CNC did lose, but if you actually watch the match, the reason why CNC lost was because they kept getting their cavalry trapped at really, really strange places. Well, not strange places now, but since we understand how the map of Highland Fjord works out, but like back then, I didn't. I played Highland Fjord for the 2 weeks, and I didn't even know that there were sets of stairs where cavalry couldn't go up or down, and that was the first time I even knew about that. Very fascinating. Because when you're in tier three lock, no one brought cavalry back then because like the tier three cavalry was shit. The tier two cavalry also shit. There's no tier one or zero cavalry, so there's that. Oh, so without the option of the Metalla Tori, really strange. It's Tori when the official name should have been Lori, but maybe that's a typo. No idea. It's really funny as well because Metalla Tor and Metalla Tori are both the same word. One is hammer and the other one's hammers. That's how funny it is. Nevertheless, I mean, here we are on Harbor City, and we've just begun on Harbor City. You missed out. So, Mesme, you missed out. YYY just destroying AoE, kind of just hunting them down. AoE did put up a good fight, though I do think tactical decision was bad in the sense that they needed to push the defenders instead of catching the defenders, which actually didn't work out well anyway, so there's that. Well, maybe. I do know of Boss and his friend. Like, there are two Chinese players that I commonly see. By the end of the season, they always reach Star General. So the Star General seasonal ranking requires you to level up your hero level 1,000 times. And you might be thinking, oh, 1,000 times not that much. No, it's a hell of a lot. It's a hell of a lot. Most people, I would say, in a season, if you play probably a few games every day, 5 games every day, 7 days a week, you will normally end up roughly around the later purple or the early orange ranks, which is around about 600 to 800. 1,000 plus is a massive task, and that is, whew, my goodness, because Star General means that there is no more seasonal ranking for you. You're at the end at seasonal ranks. And they normally get it. They always get it. And I mean, like, that was consistent for like 5 seasons. Does see the first generation siege towers all get blown up. Again, it's very classic for Harbor City to kind of have this early game where they kind of tease each other with destroying the siege towers, just trying to get the culverins to be destroyed. Both sides kind of waste a little bit of artillery in this section, and I mean it's very cost effective for the defenders time wise to destroy the siege towers and again effectively keep the attackers in a defensive position. They don't really have very many options. They either go up the wall through the ladders, go through the front gate, or through the small gate. Um, None of which are really good options, but nevertheless, it is a slow start, to say the least. They will lose if the system is not this bad. The game. Hang on, I've missed the talk here. Yeah, 1,000 levels would be like 8 hours per day for 7 days a week. You joke, but if you saw the devs versus player event a few seasons back, you'd have seen just how. Oh man, no, there was a. Didn't you see the developer match just recently? There was another developer match just like literally just now, and they got their asses handed to them. I mean, I'm pretty sure the players that got to play with them were just kind of styling on the developers. They will lose if the system is not this bad. The group stage. The group stage, totally rubbish. You need full win to get on top group. Imagine you got 3 match and 3 those was free win. You get full 13 points, and imagine the try-hard teams need to fought another 3 try-hard teams. Yeah, I think the whole point of a round robin group phase is that every single team fights every other team in the group. Um, so I think the problem with the group stage right now is that every single team is not fighting every single team. They're fighting a subset of the teams. Middle Siege Tower gets on the wall, Death Trap, so good thing, don't go for that one. Why, makes a smart move, takes a hard, straight through the front gate. I mean, I would too. This is where you get sandwiched though, so you have to be fast. I would move all the way in, past the buildings, and then turn around. Um, you're gonna trap yourself here as they get closer and closer. I would switch to the siege tower right now. Lose a unit, that's fine. Get up onto the wall. Sacrifice of a unit is nothing compared to grabbing that A point with basically 0 resistance. So why takes a massive victory here, losing just half a winged hussar, not even the whole winged hussar. There is around about 7 or 6 of them left. So that is still a good potential charge coming out from a half-strength winged hussar. The tactical play here for YYY, brilliant. They didn't commit for anything. They lost a little bit, but they have gained the A point and the wall. And this is huge. Actually huge, because AoE, depending on how they played it, could have picked up massive amounts of units, like cost effectively. massive amounts of units because that's how powerful the wall is. Now, losing the wall, they have to make a decisive fight here inside the city, which is much more difficult to pinpoint a very advantageous defensible point. Inside the city here, we are looking at many different streets, big open area, and also the availability of cavalry. Not to mention now, right now, we have YYY firing mortars, disrupting and damaging formations out from AoE. So it's going to be very interesting how AoE responds to getting mortared right now. Aiming for cavalry on the second line there. I would normally pull back or get closer to the walls here. You're normally pretty safe at certain angles. It becomes very difficult to get mortar shots to land correctly when you got a tall wall next to you. They're using maybe a lot of booster plus regions. I wouldn't disagree. Boosters and premiums definitely help a lot. The number of battles you still have to play is quite a bit though. Even if you did have the 50% increase and the 30% increase from premium, that's 80% increase. That would only cut your time down by like, well, at best half. Still, it would be very costly as well. But on average, I think most hardcore players don't even reach the latter stages of purple rank, and you would you would think that the orange ranks are actually very rare, very rare. Indeed, the system isn't good. They want something who go fast, and it was first time they did it like this, right? Let's hope they learn from it and made more but smaller groups next time. Yeah, smaller groups does help out. In this case, I mean, it's not the first time. It's not the first time that they have done the qualifying phase as a round robin group. Uh, this would be probably the third time they've done it. Previously when they did the scoring phase for the summer CBL, they made a mistake by having everyone be in the same group, and they just had 30 teams constantly fighting a bunch of others in that 30 team. There were like 8 matches a night. Like, no, there were like 8 simultaneous matches going on every time slot. So there were like a total of 16 matches per night or something. A lot of teams pulled out, but it was just absolute mayhem just being in that scoring phase. Not to mention it lasted for 3 weeks. So the mortaring has ended. YYY takes to the ground here. The defense here is nicely set up there on the 3rd street inside the city and still defending the supply point. YYY's got to make a decision of how to pressure the defenders because the defenders are kind of in a position where they could take a fight anywhere at the intersections and they could do a squeeze. A squeeze would be very devastating for YYY. Actually goes for this corner here. This could be really cool. They only have to fight on 2 fronts, but I'm just wondering, they've already moved into a 3-way intersection. This could be absolutely brutal. Whoa, Wing to Star charges right on through. Wing to Star charges right on through the other way as well, but getting stopped. And the 3-way intersection going very badly for YYY as the forward section gets completely decimated. But right now, YYY is holding very well as the secondary line works out. We have a mass of shield maidens there at the front, probably going to get burned to pieces. It does actually get burned to pieces. We have a good turnaround. AoE tries to do, unsuccessfully tries to squeeze YYY, but one of the sections collapsed completely, and YYY was able to funnel AoE into a choke. So, very good. Very, very good. YYY I mean, I expected a little bit more losses from YYY, but surprisingly, YYY takes that fight very convincingly. How they positioned their units for the for the three-way intersection, and then converted their formation back into a one-way, consolidating their forces as the split forces from AoE charge in from top down, absolutely wasted. Every single person also smashes into one line, then smashes into a secondary line, causing a big momentum loss coming out from AoE. So it just was brilliant how decisive YYY was. No slacking, no hesitation. Sacrificed the medals, sacrificed the cavalry, slowed down the counterattacks, blast right through the defenders on the supply point. So big mistake coming out from YYY right now, not intercepting this move towards this supply point. Now, the supply point on the right-hand side has classically been a very important supply point, but the concentration of forces coming out from AoE is very terrible. Um, Sometimes you shouldn't panic if the enemy team does go for this. The only problem here is that AoE making a bad decision in sending one after the other. Massive force here on the supply point. I think YYY is concentrating very hard and keeping some of the other people, considering the guys on the north hand side are not concentrating on the supply point. They really need to break through this section of medals, and the supply point is just so heavily guarded right now. There is so much infantry, and I don't think that cavalry. I mean, there was so much cavalry coming out from AoE that turned out to be completely ineffective. Now we have the leftover mass of infantry, but they're going to get swarmed right now, completely outnumbered and completely outmatched, I would say. Shield Maidens to the front decimates the Loyal Guard and formations of Fortibracios. Not to mention, wow me, that flame is still alive? Wow, they have 3 flamers left, and that is amazing. Good work. Bad trade up for AoE, gets completely decimated on their primary defense. Now moving on towards their secondary one, piecemealing it one at a time, cavalry after cavalry, right into a pike formation. And here's the kicker. Because it was one at a time, the pike formation had the ability to reset, reform. The cavalry could not really get that value it really needs to. So in the end, AoE runs out of units, runs out of everything, and YYY takes this battle very easily. I think YYY did a very good job. Not to mention on some of the distraction tactics that YYY was able to pull off. YYY, um, I was I'm quite amazed at how this match is a very good display of how forces in smaller forces holding off bigger portions of their bigger forces. Okay, so holding tactic, the holding tactic. So normally you would think that you would commit more forces to destroy a smaller force very quickly, and then turn your attention to another one. And I think it's also very apparent that a small force holding off a larger force for your other guys to then smash this other guys. So it's just it's just very it's just it's just how battles on different fronts can dictate the larger battle. And I'll be honest, if the holding force, that medal, broke any faster before the cavalry smashed into that main force, we could have seen a different outcome for that supply point. But because the holding force managed to keep that 4 or 3 units of infantry at bay, and I mean, like, that's 1 unit of medal holding back three or four units. That's massive. I mean, like, it didn't do them any favors by throwing in cavalry one at a time. Um, but nevertheless, that is the elimination of AoE. You are correct, one. That is elimination of AoE. So we won't get to see a tiebreaker. Very unfortunate. No tiebreakers so far, just complete victories. And it's not that AoE was absolutely terrible, but strategic wise, um, like compared to YYY, they were lacking. I do think that they showed more promise in the fight on Highland Fjord, but this Harbour City one, I think they were a little bit uh, lost in terms of how they approached their defense on the second battle. I mean, like in the second on that second supply point fight there. Maybe. I mean, from from a standpoint, I think YYY really put through a a very a very good showing of how decisive their actions were. Um, Identifying weak links or performing maneuvers where it has the highest likelihood of success. So in this case, I mean, pushing towards a supply point, they probably suspected that that three-way intersection, they might want to take advantage of that. But the trick here is that YYY could have expected that they would have had more forces on the second, more forces on one other side, so that they could blast through the guys on the supply point. But that's also true that you could have actually pushed towards the left-hand side and done the exact same thing. Maybe. I'm not sure in this case. Identifying weaknesses in the enemy formation is not as convincing as just a numbers game. It's really about how the formation is set up and the terrain or location, because most of the intersections, I mean, if YYY got caught in that three-way intersection, they could have seen heavy losses, and I mean like heavy losses, but they didn't. But they didn't. And the good thing here is that they didn't. Ah, really, did one? You're in there. You need to bet on BOD. Do you think BOD? You think BOD will win again? BOD did win against SSR before, but SSR did put up a really good fight. BOD tooth and nail for that final field battle. I think I think that was a very surprising turnaround because SSR at the entire time SSR had the uh, advantage. It would seem they would have the advantage, but BOD turned it around at the very end, and it was super surprising. To me, it was anyway. Or maybe I'm misremembering the battles. There was a couple of really fun field battles that we did get to watch. Oh, really? Apparently CNC Strat coming for BOD. So the quality of the players is probably the lacking point, or maybe the strat, or maybe that's why he's the X Strat of CNC. I think we have around about another 8 minutes before the Pickman phase actually even starts. So I'm gonna be right back. Gonna grab some water, and I hope to watch the Pickman phase with you in a little bit. I'll catch you guys in 5. Well, I'm back now. So, gonna be about 3 minutes behind. I am just watching the Pickman phase. Not gonna spoil anything since it's much better to watch it. Whoa! It's so much smoother. What the hell? I didn't even realize. Whatever. I'm gonna be telling you right now. They kind of, I don't know what they fixed, but the application is so much smoother right now. Like, I can actually see the timer clock down. Like, it's not freezing at all. That's so amazing. Like, I don't know why it was freezing before. Alrighty, let's have a look at the chat. They kill Surf, they're the bad guys. Surf Slayers, man. They call themselves Surf Slayers. If they don't kill Surfs, I would suspect that they need a new name. What? Are you joking? Really? You wait, the Chinese forum thinks BOD is going to win? You do understand that CNC is actually, like, CNC is still here, right? I mean, okay, BPJT, CNC, and OISU are like my top three teams. Like, out of the teams that I actually know, those are my top three teams. BOD is not even on my list, and you think BOD is going to win? Like, win the CBL? Or do you mean just between this matchup? Because I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if BOD wins because we actually have seen this matchup before. But it came down to a field battle, so it could fling either way, technically, if both teams kind of learned from their mistakes. I mean, also, Pickman can be pretty massive, like, taking away some of the most powerful tools that they commonly use. But, really? BOD is, I mean, I can understand that BOD being kind of a branch. Let's just call it a branch, right? What? Man, I think your Chinese forums, the Chinese forum is crazy. I think these people on the Chinese forum are crazy. Oh my goodness. Let me just quickly close this. Not close this. But let's quickly switch over to actually watching the pick ban together. Ban on Hidden City, ban on Highland Fjord, and we got a Harbor City pick following a pick from SSR. He talking the right thing? Me or him? Trav? You wait, Zid1. I mean, I don't disagree with the information he's providing. I just think the statement that people think BOD is the favorite to win the CBL, the winter CBL right now in the Asia division is crazy. Another Harbor City pick. A double Harbor City out from both BOD and SSR. So they'll both be attacking on Harbor City. We're on to the unit pick ban phase. What are we going to see as a ban? What we're going to see? What are we going to see for the bans for the units? Don't get me wrong. They probably know something that I don't. And again, you've stated that BOD is a branch family. I will call it a branch family from CNC. Wonderful. CNC is still in the tournament. So if it comes down to BOD versus CNC, do you think BOD is better? I mean, so far they haven't had a good showing. So we have a ban on Daggerack Lancers and a Shenji Grenadiers, following a ban on Stipenati and Metallic Door. Quite interesting. Three very powerful ranged units has been taken off the board. A safe pick on Zyclean Militia. A safe pick on Zyclean Militia. That is quite interesting. Oh, yeah. BP, JT, I have no doubt it's going to go a long way. Because, like, so far, from what I've seen, BP, JT has really kind of just been dominating every single person they come against. Maybe the opponent they're coming up against is weaker, but yeah. Top ranked players don't mean a top ranked team. There's a bit there's a big difference between individual performance and team performance. You could have really good individual performance, but you could be a shit team player. And I want to make that distinction that good ranking in like the ranking we currently have doesn't mean that you're like the the top 15 guys together is going to make the best team. That's obviously false. That's obviously false because individual rankings is individual. It's not about the whole team working together. It's about how that individual plays. He consistently tops ranked, and he there's a method of getting top rank in order to like focus on performing well. So strangely enough, SSR doesn't choose to ban a third. Liao Rangers get banned. So a safe pick on Chevalier is a ban on Liao Rangers. SSR, you kind of surprised me. I mean, not actually. Not actually surprised, but like, I'm actually quite shocked by how many bans on Chevaliers there actually have been. So the fact that SSR did choose Chevaliers as their safe pick, I think, like, it kind of shows that I clearly didn't understand how popular Chevaliers was. And, I mean, I don't understand the actual performance out from Chevaliers too much. They're not exactly a very powerful ranged unit. They're not exactly a very powerful cavalry. Together, they're basically two units in one, but they're not spectacularly strong units. SSR good bans, but they've been wrecked by BOD's cav play on previous matches. The Daggerak Lancers, BOD kind of smashed them with the Daggerak Lancers. It was kind of mostly the Daggerak Lancers that they were unexperienced with. And I mean, I've had this talk with many, well, I say many. I had this talk with like a few guys on the Discord that have come from the my.com version of the game, and they're just like, there's no cavalry. There's like no cavalry. And they just say it's all stalwart shields and pikes, and it's just like, really? Here on the Frontier version, you know cavalry is very popular, in particular the Daggerak Lancers right now in the Tier 4 unlock. We do get the Tier 5 unlock this coming Monday, so it'll be interesting since I'll have the Hashashins. In particular, the Hashashins, like, this will be the first time we actually get to see them in action, so I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to actually using them. I'm always looking forward to discovering new things, but backtracking on a lot of old information is normally really difficult for me and really annoying for me. Tier 5 next Monday. I have pre-ordered them, so I'll be able to use them day 1. That's what I said. So Mezume, I can't use Hashashins right now. I can use them when they come out on the Monday at 12. Rich? You think I'm rich? Man, I don't even live in my own house. This is my sister's house. I live with my parents and my sister. Does a rich person live with their parents and their sister? A rich person would live in their own place. Or a place that they own, at the very least. Me becoming rich, well, man, virtual currency. I get free virtual currency that's worth like $50. Man, I barely get paid for doing this. I do this mostly for fun. The fact that I get paid at all in any form is amazing. In fact, I actually get more money from you guys watching ads than I do get from BT from giving me sovereigns. If I convert it, I mean, which is really funny. I mean, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys are not even full time watchers either. I get around about maybe 10 regular viewers. Most of you guys are probably here to watch the CBL with me. I mean, like, I love it. I love it that I normally get pretty high numbers during the CBL because I hope that guys like my commentary, but apparently I'm just not that entertaining when it comes just to regular sieges. Also, I mean, Black Templar is actually my sugar daddy. He doesn't chat in the chat very often, but he has really basically just kind of funded this channel enough. He paid for my lunch every month. We have about 1 minute before the official start. I hope the SSR, yay, finally started to appear. So you guys telling me, right, that I mean, like, I've been told this several times. Surf Slayers here, the SSR guys, are from EU, are from like the EU server. They play on the EU server. They came here to fight in the Asia Division CBL, and that's what you've been telling me. That's what you've been telling me. Okay, yeah, that's nice. That's nice.